Hey guys, M.V.K here. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's well. Welcome back to the Speed Force. In a sense, first of all, guys, I apologize for putting up my review of episode 21 a little late. Uh, After I got finished watching Flash yesterday or Tuesday, I was getting ready to do it, and then something came up where I couldn't put up the vid. So here I am to put it up now. As always, just to you guys want to hear what I thought about this episode. This episode of was titled "GRODD Lives," and I'm not gonna go really into detail about the plot. I'm just gonna give you a little bit of what the synopsis of it was, and just talk more about overall GRODD. Let's first of all let me make this perfectly clear. GRODD was one of those characters I said from the beginning of this series was how are they going to put GRODD on this? How are they going to do GRODD? And we started to see pieces of it being played out, and I was like, yeah. And they just slowly started to build GRODD up, just building him up slowly but steadily. And I applaud the people behind that. Very good. Now, basically, the biggest things about this episode was the fact that, of course, Barry is he's looking the all over Central City, looking for Eddie. He doesn't know where Eddie is. The other biggest thing is Iris finds out. She finally confesses and tells Barry that she knows, and of course she kind of Barry's like really confused, like, oh, how did you know? And she tells her like a little, like I said, a little electricity and. Like I said, a little bit of a cop out for that. I still don't really agree with that. Like, oh, static electricity. Hey, you're the Flash. I think that's a little bit. I think it would have been really interesting to go through a little bit of more detail of how, but that's just me nitpicking. Uh, Iris is really upset, disappointed at her father and Barry, for not telling her, being the fact that, they only did it despite of keeping her out of danger, things like that. And Barry's telling her, look, he wanted to tell her plenty of times, you know, he wanted to go behind Joe's back and tell her, but she's really upset about it and disappointed and things like that. And as much as I was trying to understand Iris's feelings on that, yeah, but I then clearly the table was turned on her, and which kind of I was a little bit in agreement on Barry's part too. Like, you're not being honest with you haven't been completely honest with me as well, and I thought that was like, yeah, it don't feel well, does it, Iris? But in the meantime, besides that, there is a new crime, a new criminal in Central City he likes to rob heights, he likes to rob expensive, like uh, detailed assignments. People like are transporting gold or something like that, and we get to see him, and he's all armored up. He's got guns. He's got like a mask, and literally when I looked at him, like he's all heavily armed. I started thinking about Army of Two. I was like, look, it's Salem or Rio. So I thought it was pretty funny. I was like, but when he hits one bank, the first time Barry meets him, he gets hit with some kind of psychic attacks, and right then and there, we clearly we were dealing with GRODD, you know, um, and finally, Kat and Cisco start to test see what's Barry doing and things like that, and we find out no, it's not. And then the next time the masked robber hits again, we find out it's revealed to be General Island, and then we find out who Island's not home anymore, somebody else, and that's where we get the story of GRODD, and that's where pretty much it ends up pretty much in the sewers. Joe, Cisco, and Barry go looking for this gorilla, uh, the superpowered psychic gorilla. Unfortunately, Joe gets kidnapped. He breaks a few ribs. and he's held captive by GRODD. Now, right there and then, I want to applaud CW. I thought GRODD looked great. I love the thriller vibe of how they played off GRODD. Like he stayed in the dark. You know, he was like that silent predator. You know, he stayed in the dark. You really didn't get a good look at him. He moved through the shadows. He was like a guerrilla ninja at times. And when he struck. And boy, did he strike. And I really liked that vibe to him. And when you finally got to see him, it was just like, oh shit. It was like, oh shit. No, he wasn't like no. I mean, gorillas are big, but this gorilla had to. The way they made GRODD, he had to been at least 8 to maybe 7 feet tall. You know, standing up, because when he walked, you heard like the weight of him move. And I loved how he talked. You know, it was through your head, but it was just, you know, it was spot on. Like you saw them pay respects to GRODD, which I love. And the funny moment is the banana scene. I fucking love that scene. That scene had me laughing my ass off because I knew that was gonna backfire on Joe big time. I'm like, no, Joe, what are you doing? Don't Gorillas don't eat bananas like that. And you know, I thought it was so funny. Um, but in the meantime, pretty much now it becomes, how does Barry get Joe back? Um, and the confrontation between Flash and GRODD was I was a little bit far fetched in the terms of, because I'm like, how the hell is he able to catch Barry's punch at the speed that he was traveling? I'm like, psychic or not, that still should have been a little bit like, really? But the I did appreciate also how, even though Barry was fast and, you know, he's hitting GRODD from all sides, you know, it wasn't doing shit to GRODD, because I was like, this this is a mountain of muscle. So like that shouldn't have been nothing to him. But Cisco made a device that would keep him from GRODD from using his psychic attacks. Unfortunately, it there was a little bit of a, hiccup, and it became more of now Barry relying on Iris. It seems like Iris is his anchor, and I've always been saying that throughout the whole series. Like, she is his anchor, and pretty much uh, he's able to fight through it. Unfortunately, GRODD, you can see GRODD was really upset about it. He's like, you mother, and he tries to jump at, literally, and he gets hit by a train, and it ends there. Now, the other thing I wanted to tease on is the fact that it seems the seed of Eddie's future on the show has been casted. His seed has been planted. Dr. Wells showed Eddie that paper of basically the byline, and he made sure Eddie read it. He said, "Read the byline, because yeah, in the future, he literally is telling Eddie, you're nothing. You won't, you're not gonna marry Iris, because look, hey, look, there you go. Look what the byline says. It says Iris West Allen. So literally, in my opinion, the seeds are being set for Eddie to become a future villain. Not sure if he'll take over the Reverse Flash, or will he become Cobalt Blue, which he has became in the comics before. Uh, but this was a great episode. I very much enjoyed it. Had no really complaints too much, and I'm glad that GRODD is not dead. That was the biggest thing for me. I was like, he got hit by that train. Please don't tell me he's dead. And we got a good tease that, yeah, he's alive and well, and hopefully we're gonna see more of GRODD. But I gotta applaud the people who did the CGI for GRODD. That was beautiful. I thought, I for a CW show, and we know this is CW, their special effects can be choppy at times, but you can tell they put a lot into GRODD to make him look menacing, to make him look very intense, and to the point where you see him, it's almost like, oh my God, you know. And I also think we also get to see a little bit of seeds planted of Cisco, of his future heroic self coming in vibe. Uh, now a lot of I've heard some people have messaged me personally and said, "Wait, Cisco is vibe?" And yes, yes, guys, Cisco is the new 52 vibe, the vibe, kind of, a lot of people say the cool vibe, the badass vibe, because he's not the original vibe, the breakdancing, metahuman that can cause a little bit of vibrations. No, not that vibe. We're talking about the new 52 vibe. That's his version. But this was a great episode. No complaints whatsoever. You guys tell me what you thought about this episode of episode 21. Rod lives. 2 more episodes to go, and pretty much I'll be out of the Speed Force for uh, a few months before the next season starts. Uh, and looking forward to the next episode where we see, you know, Barry calling a little bit of help from the Mel cousins. We get to see the Mel cousins come together for the first time on TV, and it was good. It was good, very good, and good indeed. It just makes me wonder how the series is going to end, especially for Flash, and then we move on, and then that's it. But this is Mount Vernon Kid. Hope you enjoyed. Tell me what you thought, and I will see you guys next time in the Speed Force. But for now, I need to step out because just because it's time. But other than that, you guys take care. I'll see you guys next time.